Hi, sweetheart. How
Hi.
are ya?
Good, you?
Okay, so we're doing rainy.
Rainy City, episode 11.
Really? We're
Yeah,
getting there. We're in double digits.
we are in double digits.
Okay. Is anybody out there watching us?
hmm
Oh,
We
okay.
got some new subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
hmm
Now you just need to join and follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, we have Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok. I do not have X because I'm not really a big supporter of Elon Musk.
Yes. Well, gotta do what you gotta do.
We also have Threads. But yeah, I don't use X because, yeah,
Because of him.
I can't do it.
Okay.
So I am taking you. This is an interesting crime.
Okay.
So this is the case that caused Washington to go from hanging for the capital punishment to lethal injection.
Okay.
So we are looking at Mitchell Rupe.
Okay. And how many years ago was this? If it went from hanging to lethal injection, it's got to be years ago. Where do you find all these old cases?
We're going to 1981.
Oh, okay. That isn't that far back.
Yeah. I do a lot of digging.
Yeah, you must.
I fall down rabbit holes.
And you just keep on going.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, I go by names or actually not even names. I will look for descriptions of stuff and I would go from there.
Okay.
And as long as they have at least a couple like websites or something behind them, that is the thing. If you guys ever want me to cite my sources, just let me know.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy to provide them. And I try really hard if we use stuff from podcasts or people on Reddit, I try really hard to shout them out.
Yeah. And also we try to fact check everything that we do. Which if you catch something that we've said, please send it to us.
Because what I do is I use Wikipedia to get the bare basics of the case, and then I go to news outlets and all that, and I build in everything.
Yes. Well, we've got to be able, just like when we redid the Phoenix Colden,
because
we had so many different sources and so many things that were wrong, and we went back and redid the whole episode because we wanted to make sure.
It's still not my favorite episode.
No, it's not.
But because that was a really hard case to cover.
Because there were 3 sources, but for
the most part, there was nothing about her, and I hate that.
No, I hate it too because she, was this young girl that was in trouble.
Mm-hmm. And every person who goes missing, no matter what ethnicity, race, whatever circumstances, it deserves full attention, and I know they don't get it.
Well, we talked about it when we did her on the other podcast, was that she had a 2-night special, and Mara Murray that we did in the beginning had 6.
And considering how old her case is.
Yes. It was crazy. And like Crystal Rogers, it has 6. I mean, some of these have a lot, but I don't know.
We're going to discuss Mitchell Rupe. I'm going to tell you about his crime. And this is why he's well known around the state of Washington.
Okay.
This case, does deal with the death penalty. I always like to preference that. It does deal with the death penalty. We will go into kind of in depth into the method that is used because there is a reason I kind of have to.
Okay.
So if you don't want to listen to an in-depth discussion of capital punishment, especially because we're going to be discussing hanging and we're going into the science behind it because that's really important, please feel free to skip this episode or even skip the next 5 minutes.
Yes.
I fully support whatever you have to do to keep your peace.
Yes.
Because I know capital punishment is a very touchy subject and it's very hard to listen to.
Yes, it is. And everybody has their own views on it. And
so keep your peace. If you need to skip it, I completely understand.
Yes.
So since 1849, Washington has carried out 110 executions.
Okay. That's not a whole lot.
No. The last one being in 2010.
Okay.
So the method before we abolished the death penalty was lethal injection.
Okay.
But hanging is an option that could have been selected. It was still an option, It just was not our main option. It was a main
Yeah, it's
option
kind
for a
of like
long
that
time.
guy in Utah who used the firing squad.
Mm-hmm. So you could select it, and it was our main method for many years.
Okay.
So Governor Inslee, as we have said in previous episodes, abolished the death penalty in 2023. But he commuted the life sentences in like 2018.
Yes. He was our governor for like 3 or 4
Three
terms.
Three terms. I think he was the second governor to go 3 terms.
Yes. And
he would have probably gone to the 4th if his approval rating hadn't dropped the way it had.
I think he would have been elected for the 4th term. I think he was just tired.
And I understand.
Yes.
So our last hanging was in 1994.
Wow. That wasn't that long ago.
And we were the last state to dismantle our gallows in 2003. Delaware was the second. They did it right before we did.
Wow.
So we are going to discuss hanging, as I mentioned, because this is what the case pertains to.
Okay.
So I'm reading this next part, as I said, directly from deathpenaltyinfo.org.
Okay.
And I just want, because it's going to be, because I was like, I don't know how to
put this
without having to take direct quotes, so it's just easier to be like, hey, this is where it's coming directly from.
Okay.
So until the 1890s, hanging was the primary method of execution used in the United States. Hanging was still authorized in Delaware and Washington when courts in those states struck down the death penalty, although both had lethal injection as a primary method of execution. The last hanging to take place was January 25th, 1996 in Delaware.
Okay.
I'm so sorry if you hear food in the background. Our dogs are eating, and one of them is a husky German Shepherd mix who likes to throw her food around because she likes to hunt. She jumps on us, so like we try to entertain her as much as possible.
Yes. I have tons of permanent scratches on my body.
Yes, she is. Oh, Artie. She's shy today.
Usually she has her nose up here. There she is.
She's a beautiful baby.
Okay. Keep telling yourself that.
She is a baby.
She is a pain in the ass.
So for execution by hanging, the inmate maybe, but is usually weighed the day before the execution, and a rehearsal is done using a sandbag of the same weight as the prisoner.
Okay, so they find a 200-pound sandbag and they have to lift it?
Huh? This is used to determine the length of drop necessary to ensure quick death.
Okay.
If the rope is too long, the inmate could be decapitated, and if it's too short, the strangulation can take as long as 45 minutes.
Wow.
So the rope, which should be 3/4 inch to 1 1/4 inch in diameter, must be boiled and stretched to eliminate spring or coiling.
Okay.
The knot should be lubricated with wax or soap to quote unquote to ensure a smooth sliding action, and that's according to the 1969 U.S. Army Manual. They took this method from the U.S. Army.
So they hung people in the U.S. Army?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I thought they just sent them to Leavenworth.
Well, think about it. They're an active war.
Oh.
I mean, we don't know what happens.
No, I guess not.
So immediately before the execution, the prisoner's hands and legs are secured. He or she is blindfolded, and then the noose is placed around the neck with the knot behind the left ear.
Okay.
The execution takes place when a trap door is, essentially opened.
Yeah, and they
drop.
Yes.
And the prisoner, falls through. The prisoner's weight should cause a rapid fracture dislocation of the neck. However, instantaneous death rarely occurs.
Wow.
So if the inmate has strong neck muscles, is very light, if the drop is too short or the noose has been wrongly positioned, the fracture dislocation is not rapid and death results from slow and asphyxiation. If this occurs, the face becomes engorged, the tongue protrudes, the eyes pop, the body defecates, and violent movements of the limbs occur. That is what hanging is. That is the method.
Okay, so why would you choose hanging when you can do lethal injection?
Well, you have to think about it. Lethal injection wasn't an option for a while.
Oh my God.
It was hanging until late the 1890s. This is how you were executed.
Okay.
That were firing squad. This is why they kept coming up with methods that seemed more humane than the previous method.
I would rather go out by firing squad than
honestly
hanging.
I would too.
Yeah, shoot me. Kill me.
I'd rather go by firing squad.
Yes.
I don't want the electric chair. I don't want lethal injection. I'd rather do firing squad.
So would I.
So here we're on the case.
Okay.
So we are going to Tumwater.
Okay. Tumwater is by Olympia, the capital. So that is about, I don't know, an hour south of Seattle. About an hour south of Seattle.
45 minutes from here.
Where we live, because we live between Seattle and Tacoma.
Depends on the time. Yeah. I used to do the drive every day to Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wanted to
because that's where she went to college.
I wanted to die, especially coming home in that rush hour traffic.
Yeah, because Fort Lewis is right there between Olympia and where we live.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's a nightmare. I-5 is a nightmare. Anywhere from 3 to 7 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
So the victims, you have Candace Hemming and Twila Capron. They were employed by Tumwater State Bank to staff its trailer branch in West Olympia. So they were employed by the Tumwater State Bank to staff its trailer branch in West Olympia. The branch office consisted of a mobile home located in a remote area near the Thurston County Courthouse.
Okay.
On the morning of September 17th, 1981, about a half dozen customers performed transactions of some form of some business with the bank between approximately 10:25 a.m. and 10:45 a.m.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. So that's the approximate time.
Okay.
At 11 a.m., Michael Capron, Twilla's husband, arrived at the bank to take his wife to lunch. He walked into the bank, looked around for his wife and Candace, but couldn't see them. He then heard a rasping sound, approached the counter, and spotted his wife and Candace laying on the floor. Capron attempted to telephone for help by dialing 0, but nothing happened. Another line was lit from an incoming call, and Capron punched into that line. Capron testified that he did not remember exactly what he said, but believes he said help or get help. This is Mike. The bank has been robbed and Twila has been shot. And I think Candy is dead.
Okay.
The person on the other line, who was later identified as Anne Marie Giannoulakis,
okay,
yelled back, dial 911, and Capron did so.
Okay.
Medics and police arrived on the scene. They determined that Candace was already dead and that Twila could not survive the apparent massive injuries to her brain.
Okay.
The police secured the area and began their investigation. Officer Jim Parton was posted outside the bank. At approximately 11:40 a.m., Officer Parton was approached by Mitchell Rupe, who advised the officer that he had been in the bank that morning.
Oh my God.
So within the bank, police officers gathering evidence discovered Rupe's bloodstained checkbook laying open on the customer's side of the counter. So during the next 5 days, Rupe was interviewed several times.
Yeah, I think.
On the day of the crime, September 17th, he talked to police officers once at the scene, which was approximately 11:40 a.m., and 4 times at work, which was 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and 11 p.m.
Okay, so how far away did he work from the scene?
I don't think that far.
Okay.
During these discussions, Rupe volunteered that he was overdrawn at the bank. He stated that he went to the bank both on the 16th and the 17th to take care of the overdraft, but was unable to do so because each time he forgot materials needed to resolve the problem.
Okay.
Rupe next was interviewed on the 18th, and on the 20th, he went to the police station and prepared an identikit sketch of an individual he claimed to have seen at the bank on the 17th.
Okay.
So
he's putting the finger on somebody else.
On September 22nd, Rupe went to the police station to take a polygraph test.
He failed.
Following the polygraph, Officer Midthun informed Rupe that due to the sensitivity of his voice, we have some very serious problems. After discussing the matter with Officer Midthun, Rupe admitted that he had committed the crimes.
So he just fessed up. He murdered 2 people and he just fessed up. People, do not leave evidence and do not open your mouth. If you're going to kill somebody, which I don't agree with, come on. Leaving your bloody checkbook behind and then talking to the police without a lawyer and then confessing.
Mm-hmm. So Rupe subsequently gave 3 statements to police officers.
Wow.
So searches of his vehicle, they found the ammunition of the type used in the robbery and murders. In addition, the police found a pair of white pants, wet and soiled, in a vehicle used by Rupe the weekend after the murders.
Moron.
So his trial began with jury selection on March 10th, 1982. So during the voir dire, the judge allowed counsel to question individual jurors apart from the pool concerning their views regarding the death penalty.
Okay. So a lot of times when they question the people before they put them on a jury, they ask if they believe in the death penalty. It doesn't necessarily mean that you won't get on the jury, but they want to know what you think, especially in if they're going to charge them with the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And in most states, all 12 jurors have to agree on it.
So you definitely want mixed opinions on the jurors.
Yes, but sometimes it's the judge that has to give them the death penalty. But in some states, it doesn't even have to. It has to be more than half. I don't even think it has to be all.
Yeah. So majority of states is unanimous, but there are a few states that it could just be half or just over half.
Yes, it's way weird, and some of them I think it's still the judge that rules.
Mm-hmm. It varies by the state.
Yes.
As no jurors stated that they would be unable to impose a death penalty. Regardless of the crime, none were excused because of their belief concerning the death penalty.
Okay.
At his trial, Rupe denied any involvement in the crime and blamed a friend of his.
Okay. So all the evidence is on him.
He
admitted to it, and now he's blaming his friend?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to see which friend.
Great friend, right?
Yeah. Throw your friend under the bus.
So a psychologist testified that he had given Rupe a diagnosis of schizotypal personality disorder.
Okay.
He gave them two very distinct
He's crazy.
They also and a secondary diagnosis of histrionic personality disorder, which
I don't know what that is either.
The schizotypal personality disorder, also known as, is a mental disorder characterized by thought disorder, paranoia, a characteristic form of social anxiety, derealization, transient psychosis, and unconventional beliefs.
Okay.
So, and then a histrionic.
Okay, so I shouldn't call him crazy. He seriously has a mental issue. But these are stuff that are done by the defense.
A histrionic is a mental health condition marked by unstable emotions, a distorted self-image, and an overwhelming desire to be noticed.
Okay.
The psychologist who testified said that these disorders caused him to make a false confession.
Okay.
Which actually I could understand.
Yes,
that.
I understand that.
If the evidence wasn't with him and everything,
yes.
I actually could see that due to what those disorders are.
Yes. And was that the defense or the prosecution?
I don't know. It was just a psychologist.
Psychologist. So we don't know who actually ordered the psychologist.
Honestly, it probably might be the defense.
Yes. And I always like to know if they're paid by the defense. I'm not saying that they would misdiagnose him, but I always like to hear what the defense and the prosecution have to say about these disorders.
Mm-hmm. Despite that, he was found guilty of aggravated murder and was sentenced to death.
Okay.
How many times do you think his sentence was overturned?
3 or 4.
Well, I guess why?
Mental defect?
No.
Why?
We'll get into that.
Okay. So how many times was it overturned?
3 times.
Oh, okay.
3 times. So his death. So technically, it was overturned twice. There was a third one later on.
Okay.
So his death sentence was overturned twice. And this is why it's a well-known case in the state of Washington.
Okay.
And this was the biggest reason that we moved to lethal injection as our main method.
Okay.
His first one was overturned. His second one came in 1994 when United States federal judge, his first death sentence was overturned in Washington.
Okay.
And then I don't remember what they did, but then it went to the United States federal.
Okay.
So federal judge Thomas S. Zilli ruled that Rupe was too obese to hang.
He a fat man? Okay. As you see us, we can call people fat.
He was over 425 pounds
at the time. Man.
And that's where the prison scale maxed out.
Oh, so he could have been actually heavier.
Mm-hmm. So the judge was concerned that execution by hanging could cause Rupe to be decapitated, which would constitute cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, might as well introduce the other one.
Yeah, this is Max, and I have Artie on me.
This is Maxie. Who you just heard, that's Ruby. The first 2 times were overturned by his original trial.
Okay.
He was resentenced a 3rd time in 2000 by a new jury.
Okay, so so the first 2 was overturned. Was he retried?
I guess they had to retry him. I don't know. Okay. That's what's so confusing. I couldn't find anything that clarified that. Okay. All we know is that he was retried by a new jury.
Okay.
And I think that was it was a new sentencing jury.
Okay.
Because after a 2-week sentencing hearing,
okay,
he escaped a new death sentence when the jury deadlocked by a 11-1 vote in favor of the death penalty.
Okay.
Which is falling short of the unanimous verdict required by Washington law for imposition of the death sentence.
Okay.
This man was too big. Couldn't hang him. He spent life in Walla Walla.
Oh, he's still there? Or he died?
So he just died in 2006, actually. On February 7, 2006, he died at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. Lori Scamahorn, which, by the way, that's a last name I would not want to go to school with.
No.
Who is a spokesman for for Walla Walla's penitentiary, for the penitentiary, said Rupe died shortly after noon at the prison hospital where he had been residing since January 3rd due to being in the final stages of liver disease. He was 51 years old. When he initially entered the prison, he had a life expectancy of only 18 months. So Rupe reportedly suffered from terminal liver disease, advanced cirrhosis, and hepatitis C.
But with all that great medical care and the great food, 3 meals a day, and everything else, he survived how many years?
So he went from 2000 to, so he technically lived like 1994 to 2006 if you think about it.
So 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Technically 6 if you think. Technically 6 by the time he actually officially entered Walla Walla. But yeah, Frank Brown, who was the Walla Walla County coroner, estimated that he weighed between 260 and 270 pounds at the time of his death. And an autopsy was done. So apparently in Washington State, when a prisoner dies in prison, no matter what the cause is, an autopsy is automatically done.
I think that's a good rule.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I'm not knocking it.
We're watching this thing on Alabama, and what is it called?
The Alabama Solution on HBO Max.
Yeah, you got to watch it. They are killing prisoners. They are beating prisoners to death by guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
So Carol Klingbeil, Candace Hems, sister said Rupe's death closed a painful chapter in her family's life, saying, I think there's a certain amount of closure that it's over and that he's having to explain his behavior to a much higher court than he's ever appeared in. He's going to have some tough times explaining his deeds on this earth. Dorothy Payne was Catherine's mother-in-law, called news of Rupert's death wonderful, saying nobody is going to miss him. He's going to finally meet his justice. And Payne, who apparently at this time had turned 74 right over, the day after the news broke, said that the news that he died was the best birthday present anyone could have ever given me.
Yeah.
Saying, I know it sounds horrible, but if he ever once said he was sorry, or if he had ever shown any remorse instead of sitting there gloating, maybe I'd feel different.
Yeah. I understand the concept of not wanting to hang him, but he killed people. But I understand, 400 and something odd pounds, and it that maxed out the scale.
What I never understood was that lethal injection at the time was still an option. It just wasn't the main option. Yes. I never understood why they didn't convert it to a lethal injection death penalty.
Yeah. I don't know. He might have broke the table.
Okay, but we also had, I hate to say, we had the electric chair and we still had firing squad.
Yeah, I don't know if we had that in the state.
I think we had the electric chair. Only briefly.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Mitchell Roop became very well known in Washington Department of Corrections because he was too obese to hang.
Okay, so I've got another thing. Get really fat and go kill somebody. No, I'm only kidding, but most states will put you to death.
Anyways.
Yeah.
When lethal injection.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah, it does.
But what do you think of Mitchell Roop?
He must have had mental issues to get involved.
I fully believe what the psychologist did say.
Yeah, especially the second diagnosis, because he wanted to be noted and grandiose and everything like that. That's why he involved himself in the actual
investigation.
Yes. I think so. Well, that definitely was an interesting one. Did you see the email?
Yeah.
That I sent to you? Yeah. Yes. It's a famous serial killer in Florida. It's a female. I'm sure the minute I said that, everybody knows who I'm talking about. So,
I know it's a quick episode, but kind of short on time today.
Yes, we are. Okay, babe. I love you, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Okay. Bye. Go Dodgers.
Bye.